It's the Andy and Dave Daily right here on the Muskegon Channel. Andy O'Reilly, Dave Cackley with yet another endorsement for Pepsi products. Somebody's on the take.
Dude.
Think about paying old daddy here a cut of that Pepsi money there, pal.
No, that's pro bono, man. I needed that after staying up all night watching Monday Night Football. So,
oh, did you?
It was a late night for Daddy.
Was it? Yeah.
But we'll push through.
What did I watch last night? I watched
Dancing with the Stars.
Oh God, no! Ugh. Are you kidding me?
America's Got Talent.
No.
What's The Voice?
No. Prohibition. I found it on the Netflix.
Oh, I heard that's really
documentary.
Good. Yeah, I heard that's really good.
It's great.
I like Ken Burns is awesome.
Honestly, I am this close to just getting rid of cable television. I never thought the day would come because I'm 18 years old, and out of defiance, sheer defiance, no other reason, I have had the biggest, best cable package you can always get because we never had it as a kid. But they're
right.
Even the Science Channel, which has been my mainstay, I hate the way positioning's being done. I don't like the new programming. What's left? You know, I'm literally at the point now where I watch just about everything on Netflix or the Curiosity Stream. If we could get like the NHL package to watch hockey in the winter and Major League Baseball in the summer, that's all I really watch anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know why I keep getting cable. I really don't.
Yeah, I can't. I'm in the same boat as you are as far as because I grew up without cable. I had friends who had it, and to me, that's what a rich person was. It didn't matter to me the size of your house, whether you owned or rented. You were a rich person to me if you had more than 3 channels. If you had a dozen channels, if you had the basic cable package, I was like, that's all that I cared about. And to a large extent, that's still all I care about as far as my entertainment goes. But yeah, I'll agree. I've got hundreds of channels. I watch maybe 7 of them. I mean, I enjoy reruns of MASH on AMC
get all that stuff on Netflix or whatever.
The Golden Girls
you want to pick.
Yeah,
it's really at that point. It really
I get it. I hear what you're saying.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe we're just becoming old.
You got some news to do. I've got some traveling to do. We got a job to get done. Let's do it right now.
Yep. All right, concerns are rising over U.S. vulnerability to a possible EMP attack from North Korea. Hydrogen bomb detonated at a high altitude could abolish prominent parts of the electrical grid, according to defense and security officials. While there are efforts to protect our nation's infrastructure, no one really knows what will happen or what could be done if an EMP attack occurs. I touched on this a couple of months ago after reading a fictional book about a possible EMP attack. And that's more scary in a lot of ways than a nuclear attack because it basically drops us back into the 19th century.
You know what? I've written about
tens
this the
of
last
millions
couple of
of
days.
people will die if that happens.
Our inner divisions they're our Achilles heel right now. Us all nipping at each other over every little thing. And you mentioned it yesterday. How everything is a panic reaction to everything, dude. These are our vulnerabilities right now. We need to really figure out a way to start getting along a little bit better because we do not need
reel it in
a national emergency like a nuke going off or a building getting hit. What's that?
This is a bad time for it. This would be a bad time. The current climate in the country right now, this would be a bad time.
Or an attack or something like that will spin us around and get us back on the, all that kind of thing again. But
it usually galvanizes.
We need a little bit more of that solidarity before something like that happens because nobody.
But
is.
This type of attack, we're just not prepared for. We don't know how to farm. We don't know how to do it. Seriously, you would literally be living in Little House on the Prairie. That's what your lifestyle would be if this attack were to occur because all electricity is gone for possibly decades.
Not at all.
we're not equipped
Not at all.
to deal with that. We're just not mentally or physically.
No,
And
thank you.
Speaking of physically, another 90-degree today means another half day of school for many West Michigan students. Dozens of districts will close early again today due to unseasonable heat. Most schools will dismiss students around 11:30. I was for this until you convinced me later on in the podcast yesterday to be against it. I mean, put a fan in the room. Put a fan in. In fact, it was like upper 80s in Grand Rapids yesterday. We're getting a little ridiculous with this. Okay? You have to get the kids in school.
That's right.
Get them learning. If they sweat a little bit, they sweat a little bit. Who cares? It's insanity. Family, friends, and community members said goodbye to a fallen Michigan State trooper in Rockford on Monday. Timothy O'Neill was on patrol last Wednesday when his motorcycle collided with a truck in Kent County. He died later at the hospital. Governor Snyder has ordered flags at half-staff today in O'Neill's memory. Very sad. Horrible. Voters in Muskegon County will see numerous city council and mayoral races, as well as 3 separate millage requests for road repairs and for expanded youth programs. A request for 1.5 mils of property taxes aimed at beefing up youth programming. Millage requests for Muskegon and Whitehall townships aimed to repair roads. Incumbent Mayor Stephen Gawron will face off against political outsider Will Springstead in the mayoral race. A lot of stuff coming up on the ballot, and I think on the state ballot, we're going to see the Mary Jane legalization, at least on the ballot.
I think it'll be next year. And you know what?
Not this year, but
enough of the fight.
Next year, yeah.
The cops got bigger, better things to do. And like I was saying, I was watching that prohibition thing last night, and I was watching episode 2, which is called Scofflaws. A Nation of Scofflaws, which is really what it was. And the similarities to what's going on with the marijuana prohibition compared to the alcohol prohibition are striking. I mean, it's almost identical to everything that was going on. And here's the thing, and you and I think we both kind of agree that the people kind of want this thing, and neither one of us have been overly vocal about it. And as much as I think it ought to probably be legalized for medicinal or recreational use, I've not been overly vocal about it because I don't want young people to get the wrong impression. I've taken a pretty avid stance against alcohol because of the problems I've been through in the past and things like that. But, and too, if marijuana does become legalized, I'm equally as against operating anything under the influence of it. If you're out stoned driving around, you ought to be prosecuted.
Moderation
just
is
the
the
same
key
thing as
with
you are as
anything.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for pills. Same thing goes for Coke or whatever you're on. You just can't operate machinery under the influence of it. But the line in the Prohibition film last night about Ken Burns was these people that back in the day, back in the alcohol days, they worked their entire lives to become federal judges, and they spent their entire careers busting people for booze. Yeah. The same thing's going on with weed now. You know what I mean? Oh, you got a $25 marijuana ticket.
Bathtub gin and all the,
And we got bigger and better things to worry about. We got a heroin problem that's just completely out of control. Find a way to legalize it. Find a way to tax it, make a few bucks off it, and give the people what they want. Right. You know what I mean? It's just don't drive on it.
Well said, well spoken.
Same thing as DUI. Buzz driving is drunk driving. I don't care what they say.
There you go. Sports. Cowboys beat the Cardinals on Monday Night Football 28-17. Of course, the game once again overshadowed by the take-a-knee protest. Cowboys joined arms with the Arizona Cardinal players, and before the anthem, knelt, but then stood for the anthem, which was kind of a smart move on their part. But still, you could hear this before the Lions game yesterday, the boos cascading down on these players. And whether you're for this or against it, I've said this before. You absolutely have the right to protest. That is well within your right. It's not it's the optics of this are so bad. You're alienating at least half of your fan base. The ratings for the NFL this past weekend for CBS, they were down a couple percent. NBC dropped 11%. Don't know what the numbers were on Fox, but they were actually down as well. I don't know the exact numbers, but man, optics matter so much when you're trying to bring awareness to something, or you're trying to showcase your plight. When you go back to the civil rights era, where cops were beating protesters, the pictures of cops beating protesters, or dogs attacking protesters, or fire hoses being turned on young black children, the optics of that really swung civil rights the right way. It turned public opinion around. The optics for this are working in the reverse, because even if you're saying we're not protesting the anthem, it's not protesting the anthem, it's what you're doing. That is what you're doing, whether that's your intention or not. And the optics are everything, and it's hurting the NFL, and it's hurting the plight of something these people are trying to bring awareness to, and it's not good, and it's not helping.
I stand in unison. I mean,
right
I think that I think that there's definitely a point that goes on with this abuse of African Americans, and I'd like to see the real numbers compared to what is fueled with the news. You know what I mean? I don't disagree that there's a problem, but I just think that, the way it's reported in the 24-hour news cycle, I think it's amplified. And you know what I mean? I just...
You're 100% right.
Something's got to be done. Mm-hmm. I need to know more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we never get the full and complete story, and because once again it's you and I, it's two white guys trying to talk about this.
Yeah, what do you know?
Somebody's always going to say, "Well, what do you guys? Well, we all want to solve the problem, and we're not solving it because nobody's going to talk honestly about it, and that's a big part of the problem as well." But anyway, unfortunately, that overshadows the game. Something that's supposed that's the other thing. Sports, entertainment, these are supposed to be diversions. And politics is just it's invading everything now.
I couldn't agree more.
And it's really off-putting.
Have yourself a great Tuesday.
Anyway, that's sports.